Hi, everyone. I'm glad that so many of you were able to make it today, and for those of you viewing the recording afterward as well. I'm pleased to introduce you to Aastha, Sahni, and Saman Fatima, two amazing leaders within the OWASP Women in Diversity and Inclusion Committee, who are, have been good enough to be the first movers in this new series that we're hoping to build of diversity talks. And that could be, gender, racial, neurodiversity, any of it. If you have an idea, please let us know. We have a mailing list. I'll follow up. I really want to empower you to start your own. And, I'm going to let the two first movers introduce themselves.
Thank you so much, Zoe, for the lovely introduction. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. The topic that we are going to discuss today is diversity and inclusion and how it's related to the future of secure cyber world. My name is Aastha Sahni, as Zoe mentioned, and I will be presenting this talk along with my co-speaker, Saman, today. And of course, Zoe will be joining us and all of you would be joining us. So I'm currently a lead cybersecurity instructor at Flatiron School, New York, and I am also the committee member for OWASP Women in InfoSec. I'm founder of Cyber Preserve, which is a cybersecurity mentorship program, and I'm currently the founder and chair of board for BBWIC Foundation. Saman.
Hi, everyone, and really glad to make it for the first diversity talk starting this year, 2022. So hi, everyone. My name is Saman Fatima. I am currently a data engineer in Macquarie Group. That's a Sydney-based investment bank. Also, I am the OWASP PR committee member and the management lead and vice chair of board for BBWIC Foundation, and also an active member of VCs and Women in Cloud advisor. So great to see you all here with this particular diversity and inclusion talk. So today the agenda, we'll be covering a lot of areas where DNI can be made useful and how DNI affects the emerging cyber attacks and how it can help the workforce. So we'll cover from the initiative part, we'll discuss more about it, then how DNI is functional and how does it looks at cyber workspace. Then what are its impact on cyber attacks? What it really actually takes to be diverse and inclusive, both in your organization and as an individual. And at last, we'll see that we'll understand the importance that DNI is with the purpose, should not be done at a very way that you don't need it, but yes, with the purpose, it's really fruitful and how it can lead to secure future of cyber world. So we move to DNI initiative.
Thank you so much, Saman. So first of all, each one of us is aware of this term, which is diversity and inclusion in DNI. We often talk about it in different definitions, but what's the basic crux of diversity and inclusion? Diversity and inclusion is all about a global workforce where we are talking about how we are belonging to different parts of the world. We might belong to different race, different culture and whatnot. But DNI totally focuses on how different people can work together in an inclusive environment. And when we talk about inclusiveness, it largely focuses on how welcome you feel in an environment, how open you are to talk about your ideas. And let's say, while working in an organization, if you come across certain hurdles, maybe professional or personal, how openly you can discuss with them, with the leadership, how open the organization is to put up those issues into a solution. So DNI, we largely talk about is about getting more people, getting more inclusiveness, but largely it's a natural process which every organization should be following. Someone, next slide, please. Now, DNI at Cyber Workspaces. So one of the important things that we have seen is in cybersecurity, when the number of attacks have increased to a tremendous amount, and every day we are seeing thousands of cyber attacks happening at different places across the world. Now, how DNI is useful at cyber workspaces is, first of all, you get variety of perspectives. People are coming from different countries, different origin, they have seen life from a different perspective. And when that different perspective experience and how they have handled, to be honest, when we talk about cybersecurity, it's largely about how a problem solver you are, how well you want to protect not only companies' data, but how well you want to protect people data as well on the whole. So when you think about those terms, diversity also helps you get different perspective at a workplace. So when you are working on different projects, some incident comes up and the incident response team is handling. So when we have a diverse audience coming from different experience, and not just experience from country and origin and culture, it's also about experience in different cybersecurity domains as well as different domains in IT too. Because sometimes you never know how a particular experience of a person can help you resolve a problem. Second, it strengthens the overall security posture of an organization. Definitely, it's a big yes. Big yes from the point of view, let's say we are planning a team where we are trying to identify what are the skill gaps and how we can make sure we are going to fulfill those skill gaps from time to time. So when we talk about these ideas and when we try to bridge gaps, and not just gaps from the point of view of technicalities, but from overall leadership as well. Therefore, at that point, diversity also plays a major role. It actually enhances recruitment efforts as well. When somebody is recruiting for a specific position, let's say, it's equally important to consider people who might be coming from a different cyber background but want to apply for a job. I think diversity strongly applies there too. There are many of us in cyber or not in cyber, but we want to apply for a different domain because we are passionate about it, and we might want to transition and we might want to start. But this whole start or transition is so difficult that people have been struggling with getting first interviews. People are just struggling with transition, the overall transition. And we definitely need to enhance the overall process of getting diverse audience or getting diverse candidates into our team by what can we do? One of the important things which I mentioned is a cybersecurity person is someone who's a troubleshooter in life, who has handled different situations in life and found out various ways to overcome it. So instead of adding so many certifications, we can definitely make sure we can add some people skill. We can add something, because I'm an instructor. I know I have been teaching more than 500 students, and at that point I know they come from different backgrounds, but when they are into the program, they're super strong, and it seems like they were always there. And how we are considering these factors, nobody knows, because people are still struggling. People are still struggling to get a CISSP at the age of 21, which is weird. And secondly, diversity focused mentorship programs. So definitely there are various initiatives that organizations are taking. Not just organizations, there are communities. There are communities which are not just cyber based communities, but in general, which focused on diversity programs. Now, the focus of these communities is not to introduce something new to you. It's all about learning that we are all same. It's all about learning that we might look different. We might say things differently, but we are all in this together, and we can contribute more when we work together. And that's how it is. It's nothing special. It's nothing a star in an organized, like it's nothing of I would say nothing about marketing. It's nothing about creating awareness about something new that we don't know. It's about creating awareness about something we know but we might have forget. Saman, next slides.
Yeah. So that was actually what Aastha explained about how we can have it at our workspace, and how, with people around us from different regions, from different areas, from different communities, they would have a different perspective, but a common goal. So now, how, when you have diversity and inclusion in place, and how it directly impacts to the cyber attacks that are so much, into the market, they have emerged in a very different way. So when you have people from different areas, from different communities, and they are representing a diverse nature in your organization or in your team, it will lead to a diverse and stronger workforce. There would be a lot of things which would be presented on the table, and that would lead to a stronger workforce that would be working for that particular organization. Also, see, when you have a lot of people around you in the team, there are chances that you would get a lot of perspectives, a lot of inputs from different people as well. And they may look, as Aastha said, they may look different, they may come from a different background, but yes, the common goal, the common target remains to be the same. And they will cover a lot of key skill gaps. Like, for example, we're all in a team and I have certain perspective as X, but somebody would have a perspective as Y, which would cover the skill gap that I missed in my X perspective. So that would give us a wider way of covering those key skill gaps, and together we become stronger more. And yes, this all pointers go in, in the order that when you cover the key skill gaps, you become a stronger team, a stronger organization. Then nobody can, stop you from increasing your productivity, because there would be a lot of things on the table, a lot of a lot of pointers which you missed somehow could be picked up by some other team member, and it would enhance the productivity to a level that maybe was not like before, when you were not having that factor of DNI. And last is, if everything goes in this order, if everything is positive, if everyone's perspective is taken into note and the productivity increases, so is the growth increases as yourself, like as you as an individual, and also the organization's growth increases with all these people around in a team and giving certain perspectives which are covering each other up. But as a whole, a team is amazing at that point, with having a lot of inclusions, with a lot of diverse people around you. So that's when things on the table, if cyber attacks comes up, things would be shortened, or things would be covered pretty easily as compared to before, or as compared to a different set of team which does not have the DNI part in it. So that's particularly it, how cyber attacks could be impacted and could be lessened in that sphere. So before actually we move on to the next sliders, which we have in picture, we just wanted to have a quick informal chat around if anybody wants to talk about anything about diversity and inclusion and how it's directly proportional to cyber attacks or cyber spaces, if anybody wants to share anything.
Well, I think this is great so far. I definitely have some follow-up, but I'm interested to see where this talk goes.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll pause again and we'll have more discussions ahead with our slider points. Okay, so the next point is what it really takes to be diverse and inclusive. And what is the one step you take ahead that makes you more diverse and inclusive, and as an individual you understand its importance. So as we discuss about the recruitment processes, the changes have to be done at the job hiring processes, so that whenever one person, for example, I'm not from the cyber domain, but I come down from a psychology domain. I had never seen cyber anything in my curriculum before, but I am very much interested to transition myself. So the job hiring process should be developed in such a way, should be changed in such a way that everybody is given an equal opportunity to contest for that particular role, to actually have that experience for themselves to be working for that particular department. Like, for example, I'm a data engineer right now, and I want to explore more things on the cyber end with the same role. So there should be hiring processes, there should be certain pointers in there that I am also given that equal opportunity, and I can also sit there. Rather, if I don't have that much experience, I have experience in a certain other department in cyber, but not in that same department which I am applying to. So that is what makes you, I will bring my own experience for that project, and that would be fruitful for that particular project with a different skills and everything, and I could cover that. Same, like I mentioned, if somebody is transitioning, like a non-technical person who hasn't been into the cyberspace, wants to come into the domain of cyber. So there should be provisions in the recruitment process as well that we promote this, that it's not necessary that if you are a security engineer, only then you can come down for this role. And if you are coming down from a different role, like for example, a project manager, so you would not be entertained. So, there should be promotions for transitioning of people if they want to switch from one domain to another, and they should be given that equal chance to contest, and maybe they turn out to be really great candidates, and they turn out to be great individuals, team members for that particular organization. Then next is diversity as we see it is not something very much limited to gender and race. It's not only about women. It's not only about, putting them forward. It's not about them, supporting one particular race or, including one particular community. No, it's taking everybody together. That is how you make a diverse environment for yourself. If for example, your organization is promoting a specific community and they have all the people from the same community, then that is not being called diverse. You should have that entry walks for everyone. And next is neurodiversity as well. The neurodiverse candidates as well should be included into this particular agenda of diversity and inclusion. So it's not just one section, but everybody together has to go forward, and then only you would be landing up and you can call yourself as a DNI organization or as a DNI individual. I support it. And next is we really support a lot of other communities. Like I mentioned that, apart from gender and race, there should be neurodiversity individuals as well. We also have a lot of other people coming down from different backgrounds. Like for example, we have veterans. So these are people coming down from army or air force or these backgrounds, and they have a great sense of analytical skills, logical skills that they have used at protecting the national security. And if they being part of our teams, if they being part of an organization, would really be fruitful. Others, like we could have a lot of people from the psychology end. Human psychology is now the very go-to term these days, that with cyber attacks, the workforce psychology is very important to be analyzed there. So a lot of these things would help there. And other behavioral sciences, so psychology and behavioral people are there to actually see how the team members behave and how they can help with their understanding of their background. So these people can also be considered to be included in the team, and they could make a great team with a lot of experiences coming down from their backgrounds and stuff. So if you're covering all these things really takes to be diverse and inclusive, and how you can enter into the arena of being DNI and promoting all these things on the table that we discussed. So moving to you, Aastha.
Thank you so much, Saman, for sharing those insights. So one of the things that Saman shared was like what it does take to be diverse and inclusive. But one of the things that we should largely from a broader perspective realize this is DNI is not a checklist. It's not a trophy. It's not a trophy program that if your organization started off like, oh, we should also have a diversity program. But in reality, we are not incorporating it in the organization. It does not make sense. It does not make sense at all. And we have been seeing like when these, from the past few years, we have been hearing diversity and inclusion and equity as well. And when we hear these terms, we have been seeing on LinkedIn or other social medias, like, okay, everybody is now featuring or starting off their diversity programs. But the reality is it's not a checklist. It's not a bonus and it's not a trophy. that if we started off or an organization started off, it's going to give us a trophy or something kind of a gift or a reward. No, it's not a checklist. It's a self-realization process. So as humans, we definitely have to realize this when we have different programs. Let's say we have neurodiversity programs, we have Black in Tech program and whatnot. But one of the things that we need to realize at the end of the day is calling a black is not good. It's not diverse, because when you call someone and when you start a conversation with, oh, as you know, or as I know you are neurodiverse, it just ends there. Because the moment you say this term, you're actually creating a particular boundary between you and that person. And sometimes you don't know how it might hurt someone psychologically, how it might hurt someone's confidence completely, and they might not even share this. So it's a self-realization process. When you start to realize as an organization on the whole, or as an individual on your whole, you will never see as a person as neurodiverse. You will never see as a person as Black, white, or brown. No, it's a self-realization kind of a stuff, which organization should be promoting. So rather than starting off with fancy programs on diversity and inclusion, it's more about making people realize, like, at the end of the day, we are just human beings. So when we talk about LGBTQ, when we talk about gender, like LGBTQ, races, culture, color, and whatnot. So when we start to pick them and put it on people, like today is a program and we are going to call a neurodiverse person into this, or we are going to call, let's say, a Black person into this, the whole thing ends. It's just a promotional program. It's not diversity and inclusion. The third thing is that we have been discussing from quite a while now, cybersecurity needs different talent with different mindset and geography. What does this mean? This means majority of our developed countries, they're filled with immigrants, to be honest. In fact, United States, Canada, and various other developed countries, they are full of immigrants. There are larger amount of immigrants which are moving from various undeveloped or developing countries, or in fact, the citizens itself. So all of us, we are working together in these countries, and these countries are great economies. And one of the major things, which is like one of the major movements, which is going to bring a good amount of change in the future of cybersecurity and overall the country as whole, would be we would be welcoming more talent, and welcoming more talent, not just because at the end of the day we have to do it like, oh, let's get more candidates because, oh, we need 2 candidates from this, we need 2 candidates from this category because we need to fill the diversity. It's not about that. It's about, you see a job profile, you look at a person profile and you're like, oh, this person has a good experience, nothing related to their gender, nothing related to where they're coming from, just about the work they do. And this is what that's going to bring the real change. The last thing, as I was saying, neurodiverse candidates, similarly, at the point I was saying, they don't need your special attention. They are full human being. It's just their mind is more developed than ours. Is it a problem? No. It's a good thing, because especially at the time of unanticipated cyber attacks, specifically when we don't know the tactics and techniques of the future attacks, it's good to have people who have more analytical skills. What's wrong with that? Why tag them with the name of neurodiversity? Maybe they have a more developed brain, but why do we have to call it explicitly? It does not make sense. It does make sense that when you bring diversity to your organization, think about the needs, think about what they might need. Don't make them feel special in different ways. Just make them feel equal. I think that will create a major difference. If it's a woman, if it's a man, if it's someone coming from LGBTQ, whatever is their background, we don't care. We just have to make sure we need to have as much as resources present in our organization so that if someone looks for it, it's there. We don't have to point it out to someone like, oh, you're neurodiverse, you might not be able to read properly, you might not be able to sit in a place which is full of light and whatnot. You don't have to say it. You just have to create those resources, create those provisions so that if someone needs it, they just use it. Nobody's just going to point out things to them. And I think this is what will lead to a secure cyber world. Having thousands of initiatives, thousands of campaigns, thousands of talks will not make a difference unless we start to practice it in real. And real is when we just don't specifically talk about it. We just know it. Everybody knows it. If I come from India, I know it. You can see me. I look Asian. I don't need to know it. That I'm coming from India. People know it. At the same time, if somebody is neurodiverse, you might know it, but it's not good to tell them like, hey, you're neurodiverse. Not good. So the self-realization is just know it and embrace it. And when we know and when we are going to truly embrace it, then all of our initiatives, I think, definitely are going to make sense. At the same time, it's not like that every initiative is not doing it for the purpose. They're doing it for the purpose. But overall, sometimes it's get too much. We talk about it too much and we do less. And that's the point. Saman, I'll pass it off to you.
We just have one quick slider where we are just summing up with everything. And there's a very beautiful quote by Sundar Pichai that when we have a lot of diverse mix of leads, that really leads to better discussion, decisions, and outcomes for everyone. And that we have already discussed so far. When we have mixed people, when we have a lot of people from different backgrounds, there comes a lot of discussions, a lot of brainstormings, and a lot of great outcomes, which would lead to a better team and being a better individual. So at last, we just wanted to give a small crux. And when you have this D&I initiative being part of your life, being part of your organization, it leads to the right leadership when you have the right amount of leaders around you who actually promote all these things, have these things in reality as well, give you that space as well, that understanding as well. When somebody at your upper level is following that, that really creates the right environment. That really creates a really positive environment when the leaders are actually pushing you through all these initiatives and making you realize about all these things, and you get a chance of experiencing this with a lot of people in your team and engaging with them. And that actually leads to the right role being given to the right people in the team, and that leads to a lot of growth and productivity on the table. So that's the crux of having a right leadership that gives you a right environment, and the roles are being rightly distributed there. So that is actually what we had to discuss for the diverse mix and how can inclusion help there. And we really thank you for all of you attending here. And we just here open the channels for more discussions of what all we have discussed.
All right. I would absolutely love to jump in if I can. So I thought that this was a really good talk. I thought it was really inspiring. I also think that what I heard here today lacks sort of an understanding or education around equity organizing. So yeah, I'm one of those people whose background I studied in undergrad,